Good morning, everyone. Just give me 1 minute getting my computer on so that I can move this. I don't have to look down on it. It hurts my neck. Let me take my sunglasses off my head. I've been out fighting the crowds at the grocery store this morning. Let me tell you, it's 9:30 a.m. where I am. I left at like 5 after 8 to go to the store. And the place was so busy, they had the management staff checking customers out. That's a sign of real busyness. Anyway, I'm getting the email open from today so that I can have all the bullet points of things I wanted to talk about so I don't forget them. Thank you for bearing with me. I'm literally just got out of the car, just unloaded the car, dumped all the groceries for my husband, and I'm here to talk with you guys before I have to head out the door again in about an hour. So, welcome to day 5 of Chakra Foundations. If you don't know me yet, I am Sarah, one of the founders of the Sisters Enchanted. And at the Sisters Enchanted, it's our mission to make magic mainstream, bring the spiritual goodness to everybody, sprinkle it around like confetti, and create community for enchanted sisters all over the world to come together in a safe place and learn and grow. So that's what we're here for. So this week we have been talking all about the chakras, and it's been really fun, and I love seeing everything that you ladies have been sharing in the Facebook group. We have some really talented people in this group artistically, and that's amazing. I am not one of those artistically talented people. not in the drawing, painting sense anyway. So I love seeing everything that you're sharing. I will remind you that there's a kind of a giveaway going on for 3 active participants in the class. And the reason we had the giveaway was to keep up the momentum. So I know for myself, I sign up for tons of free things and tend to, just because life is busy, fizzle out. I do like day 1, or I get the emails and I never read them and I don't do anything. So I'm doing a giveaway to encourage follow through and engagement, and really so you can follow through all 5 days and see some progress and change, right? So because though I bumped this right up to the holiday weekend, which was, poor planning on my end. The giveaway active participation part goes until Wednesday. So the end of Wednesday, my time, so midnight for me, here in the East Coast of the US, so Eastern time. Anything you post in the group for today's tasks to be active will be accepted through Wednesday. So you have some time to catch up, and, think about and enjoy what you're doing, so you don't feel like you're just, trying to get stuff done or whatever. So you have plenty of time for that. So you have till Wednesday to read everything and do everything. You don't need to feel rushed, and certainly don't need to apologize for doing things on the different day than the day that we're on or after today, because I totally understand that this is like probably the busiest week of the year for most people. And I was crazy pants for doing this week, and I just didn't really think about it. I think because Christmas falls on a Sunday, so it seemed like it was just another week, Anyway, so you have until Wednesday for that. And if you read today's email, you'll see that we are offering a whole new class called Chakra Magic that starts January 9th. And that is a paid class, but it's really going to take everything we did here and times it by like 100. So, if you are interested in signing up for that, you sign up by Wednesday. You'll also get our mini class on money magic. So that's a great way to kick off the new year. So Wednesday is like, the day you want to get all your stuff done. So today, I see we got a couple people here. Feel free to ask questions, say hi, whatever, as I'm talking. So I'm just going to talk about, kind of recap some things, and then talk about the stuff I talked about in the email and some other extra stuff. And if anybody has questions about anything at all, I'll be happy to answer them. And if I see a lot of questions later on today or over the weekend, then I will certainly either come talk to you live earlier next week, or come chat at some point to answer those questions, because I know that it's very early in the morning, or in the middle of the day for people, depending where you are in the world, and you all have stuff to do today. So I can definitely come talk early next week too. So this week we talked about all 7 of the core chakras. And the big takeaway. So while we look at each chakra separately to assess it and work on it, and each thing is its own being, the biggest takeaway I want you to have from this week is that they function as a system. So, you know, every chakra relies on the chakras before it to be open, to be totally receiving energy. And we need to remember that when we're working on our chakras. So if we look at them in a vacuum and look at each piece, we're kind of missing the overarching idea that they all have to go together. So if you think back to like high school or whenever you learned to put together an essay, right? You didn't just write 3 separate paragraphs about 3 separate things, like one thing about, you know, the history of where you are, and one thing about health, and then one thing about your science subject. Like, that wouldn't make any sense to do 3 separate things. They all need to have some coherency, like an overarching theme. And that's how the chakra system is. It's an overarching system. So we want to remember that as we're working on each individual piece, they all impact each other ultimately. They all do work together. And they're energetic pieces of our kind of internal spiritual puzzle. So, you know, because they're not tangible things, sometimes we use tangible things like crystals and different oils and scents and foods to set intentions and create intention behind working on our chakras. So that's where all these tools come into place. Certainly you can work on your chakras just internally, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, also through self-reflection and journaling like we've talked about. But for a lot of us, especially in this really super busy world that we live in, it's important to have something, you know, like a physical reminder of what we're doing to make us stop and think like, oh, I need to do this. You know, it's for my own good that I stop and do this. And that's where we have these kind of tangible reminders. So we talked about all 7 chakras throughout the week. Another thing that we talked about is the idea that they can be blocked or imbalanced, depending on the terminology you want to use, or they can be open and balanced. So those words are kind of interchangeable. So I wouldn't get too hung up on the terminology, but the thing we talked about was that it's kind of fluid. So while sometimes we might be feeling, for me, I typically feel pretty well grounded. That's not typically a problem for me. So my root chakra for me isn't something I really typically put too much thought into, but in a really busy time, or when I'm really chaotic, or I'm like suddenly everything's coming at me and I'm feeling kind of unsupported and I've got all this stuff to do, then I can get a little bit wonky in the root chakra. So it's totally normal to kind of come in and out of alignment of different chakras. So it's not like, you know, it's not like a one-time fix for anything. It's constantly something we work on. And again, that's part of the culture that we live in. We're so busy. There's so many expectations on us. Like, we got to look a certain way. We got to feel a certain way. We got to act a certain way. We got to buy certain things. Our houses have to look a certain way. We got to drive a certain car. Our kids got to do certain things. These days with the kid pressure, it's crazy. So, you know, we have so much pressure on us that it's normal to keep having to work on this stuff. So it's not like you work on your chakras once and suddenly you should expect to be some higher performing spiritual being that's, you know, perfectly happy and content and in alignment. It's not the way that works, unfortunately, especially in the world that we live in today. So just keep that in mind. It's totally okay to not be perfect. Totally okay. So those are like kind of the overarching big things from this week. And again, if you have any questions or comments, put them in here and I will answer your questions or whatever as we go along. So in the email today, there was a relaxation tip for you. So this is also the task to give it a try. Well, one of the tasks, there were 2. So the thing about, like I said, this busy world that we live in, it can be really hard to take a minute to just chill out. And when we're feeling super chaotic, it can also be, you know, we don't always have the time to be like, oh, am I feeling chaotic in my throat chakra or my heart chakra? Or, you know, we don't always have the time to sit and do that. So one way, if you have some, good morning, Shannon, if you have some personal space, which this can be hard if you work in kind of public scenes where you don't have like an office or you don't have quiet space to yourself. But one way to really quickly relax and get everything back in check again is to lie down flat on your back. And the reason you want to lie down and not do this sitting up is because we want So I have my great diagram from a couple days ago. This funnel of energy, right? So your chakras work as a funnel. So they're coming, if this was, you know, coming out of my body, it's coming out of the front of you in this funnel, going onto the inside of you, pinching in, and then coming out the back of you, like, you know, opening up again. So if we're lying down flat on our back, we have this energy coming up and opening into the universe and then coming down into the earth. So we're grounding, but also connecting to the universe and the air above us at the same time. So some suggestions I have, if you really can't lie down, if you're at work or something, I mean, you can do this sitting down, but try to be up against a wall maybe, so that your whole body is against a wall. So sit flat on the ground with your legs out and your back against a wall. If you can do that, and like, you know, if you are at work and you have a break room or something, or go in your car where you have a headrest so you're fully supported, maybe you can lie your seat back in your car or just sit there. But you want to have everything, if you can't literally be grounded on the earth, then you want to kind of represent that as best you can. So flat against a wall, or in your car where you have a headrest, you know, that you'll fully be touching something. And the idea again is to envision this funnel of chakra energy. Hello, good morning from the US. This chakra energy funneling out into the ground below you and then up out into the universe above you. So the relaxation tip, the technique, is to start with your root chakra and envision your root chakra is at your spine. So if you're lying down, it's like shooting out from between your legs. Fun image, right? Especially here, or if you're in like California where it's 6:30 in the morning. Your root chakra energy shooting out between your legs. So envision that kind of coming out and engulfing your body, like your lower half of your body, with this like brilliant red light, right? And then move up through your chakras. So you have your sacral chakra, so you're gonna have that orange shooting up into the universe, down into the earth, the yellow up and out, your green from your heart chakra up and out, your throat chakra up and out, your third eye, a beautiful indigo color up and out. And then from your crown, because it's kind of right here at the very top of your head, not totally physically within us, you're gonna have your violet or white light coming up out of you, engulfing the top half of your body. So you should be in like this rainbow of circle of beautiful energy, kind of engulfing all of you and holding you in. And so the idea is, once you have that, all these pieces, they just mesh together in this beautiful ball of color. And so as we're doing that, we want to feel ourselves relax. You want to feel your toes relax, and you want to feel your arms relax, and everything just get heavy and relaxed, up until we talked about yesterday, letting your third eye, make sure you relax right here. It's always the last thing. Most of us, even when we're meditating or doing yoga, unless someone points it out to us, we don't relax right here. So remember to relax right here, let your jaw slack, and just let everything go and see all this brilliant light around you. And that's a really great way. And like, because really this shouldn't take long, you know, you just see the lights in like a couple of minutes, 2 minutes, whatever time you have, to just take a breath and remind yourself that you have this amazing energetic system within you that's part of you. You have all of this strength inside of you. You know, you can use that. So whatever's coming at you at work, at home, whatever craziness you have, I mean, typically we can all find 30 seconds to 2 minutes to just, you know, even I think about my life on the days that, and I am not exaggerating, I am one of the most patient people I have ever met in my life. It takes a lot to really get me ticked and like losing my calm, my centeredness. I'm very patient and very calm. And so even on those hard days, I mean, I can find a minute to just sit down, at least with my back against a wall, close my eyes for 2 seconds, and just light up, you know, kind of like this time of year with the holiday lights. Think of plugging them in and everything just lights up. You know, you can find 30 seconds to do that, hopefully. And just remember, I am strong. I have all of this within me. It's all right here for me to use. I'm good to go. And then, you know, refresh and go on. So that's a really quick relaxation technique for you to use to align quickly, open your chakras. Remember that it's within you. You have power over this. And we talked about journaling and rewriting your story. So especially these times when we're really frustrated, it's good morning. Thanks, Diana. Yeah, it's super relaxing. So give it a shot. And good morning, Sarah. So, you know, find strength in these moments. And part of doing that is taking the time to calm down and remember that we have it within us. So one of your today's tasks is to give that a try. and share with us in the group how that goes, how it feels or works for you. The other task for today, so on day 1, I gave you the printout to color in your chakras how you felt they were at the beginning of the week, or you could draw them or just do circles, whatever worked for you. So there's another one, and it's the same thing as the day 1 printout. So if you don't want to reprint it, you don't have to, but it says after. So if you're, really want your before and after, you have a before and you have an after. And after you do all this stuff, just check in with yourself. See if you can see any differences where you're at the week later. Or, color it or whatever you did for week 1, do the same, or day 1, do the same thing for day 5. So those are the 2 tasks for today. So if anybody has any questions in general at this point about chakras, anything we talked about during the week, feel free to put them in the comments. And I will answer them as best I can right now. And if I can't answer right now, then I will chat again later. And in the meantime, I'm going to go through some of the bulleted stuff that I wanted to talk about. Good morning, Katrina. That I wanted to talk about today anyway, and some of the questions that I saw throughout the week that I will address today. So the first thing that I will talk about, another thing that was in here that so I'm pointing to my computer like you can see it, that's in the email, is a handout that you can print or print out. Tell I'm a teacher, a handout, something you can print that has common physical ailments for each chakra. So that is another way to tell if that you are having imbalances in a chakra, is through the physical ailments that you're having. So there is a reference sheet for that in here. Do you ever get a tingling or buzzing sensation in your third eye? Over the past few weeks, my third eye has been tingling a lot. Yeah, so to me and Shannon, so I think you're newer to the group. Some people have been in our group for a long time, so I feel like I know them like as if we are real life friends and hang out all the time. So Shannon, I don't know you super well, so I'm not sure what kind of spiritual things you practice, if you do any intuitive work or anything, but certainly if you're feeling like something is right, like it's tingling, and to me, if this is what you're talking about, like there's something kind of and you know it, but you can't quite put your finger on it, and you're having this like just sense of like, what am I, and I can feel it right here, like physically feel it. So for me, that's typically a sign that you are kind of like internally wanting to burst with some intuitive energy. So for me, that would be a sign to tell you to work that out. So either do some, so there's a lot of things you could do. You could work with Oracle and tarot cards and practice using your intuition that way. Another way, if you're really feeling like tingly here and like there's just something quite there, and if only it was real, you could grab it and hold on to it, try what's called automatic writing. So that's really similar to the idea or what we did yesterday with kind of taking that quiet meditative time and then journaling for 10 minutes. So automatic writing is when you would do kind of like the similar thing. It really is pretty much the same thing. So quiet time, and then like close your eyes and then open them and write and see what comes out to you. And so this could be a sign that your intuition is really just amping up, or if you have been working on your intuition to this point, maybe, you're about to bust through and hit that turning point where you feel really confident in hearing your intuition. So that could be what that kind of tingling, buzzing is in your third eye. If that doesn't sound to you like that is what it is, you can certainly give me more information and I can try and help you out further. But to me, that's what I would say is like kind of in the area of happening for you. So automatic writing it's a little bit different because with what we did yesterday, we were thinking and focusing on our chakra and our chakra system and then writing afterwards. So automatic writing, you're not thinking about anything. You're not focused on anything. You're just kind of seeing what happens. So some people, as you practice automatic writing, it's different for everybody. Some people will just get a thought and they write it down and that's it. And some people, as they grow intuitively, feel like they're able to channel messages and things and write those down from their automatic writing sessions. So it's a wide range of what could come from automatic writing, but it is a great way to, if you feel like something's there and you're just not like quite getting it out, or like that buzzing feeling, like what is going on, I would give some automatic writing a try, or really crank up your practice if you do any intuitive work with anything tangible like scrying or oracle cards, tarot cards, tea leaf reading, runes, palm reading, anything like that you might do. I would, get to practicing with that, because it sounds like you're about to burst onto the other side of your confidence with your intuition. So if there's any other questions, you've given to me and I will answer them. So I told you in the email there is a thing you can download and print out that has common physical ailments and then chakra alignments with that. So the reason that I didn't talk a lot in this class about our physical ailments and the common blocks, one is because I'm supposed to have a fancy disclaimer that says that I'm not a medical professional, legal professional, and I did not put that fancy disclaimer on here. I did put just a quick note on there, but so I didn't have that, and so I didn't talk too much about it. So that's one reason. The second reason is that I firmly believe that if you are working on physical stuff, you can't work on your physical stuff until your spiritual, emotional stuff is in the right place, because you don't know that you're working on the physical stuff for the right reason. And I talk about this. We are running an everyday magic class right now, and in our final week of that class, when we talk about manifesting and spells and magical stuff, I talk about that if you don't really know why you want something, you're probably not going to get what you want anyway. So you have to really know what you want. And so it's the same with physical stuff. So if you are having a lot of digestive issues, and this could be within your solar plexus area, or if you're having a lot of like sore throats constantly, and it's like your throat chakra area, so you're still going to have to work on the spiritual side of it to help heal the physical side of it. So it's not like you can just, so if you're having digestive issues, well, what can you really do about that? You can change your diet. Depending on what it is. So you may very well need medications and doctors and things, and that's totally fine and perfect. So I'm talking about like us, like me, the typical person. I don't have a diagnosed autoimmune disorder. I don't have anything like that. If I'm just like bloated and gassy and like, oh, I just don't feel great in my stomach this week, I have to do something about that, right? I've got to change the way I'm eating, maybe go for a walk, maybe I'm not exercising enough, I'm eating too much sugar. So those kind of things, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. But if I don't have a real emotional, spiritual reason to do that, it's so easy to just keep sitting on my sofa and eating cookies, right? So you've got to deal with both sides. And the spiritual, emotional side is often more difficult to deal with than the physical side. So once we get that stuff done, then we can tackle the physical stuff. So that's also why I didn't talk too much about it. And so also I want you to know, though, with those physical things, there are plenty of things. My brother is type 1 diabetic, so no matter what, he could do chakra work all day long, he's still going to be type 1 diabetic. So, there are some things that we just, we have to deal with, but through working with our chakra system, it can give us strength to move beyond it, strength to not be held back by it, and those qualities that will help us not feel like down and out and sorry for ourselves. So we all have things that, no matter what we do, we're still going to have to, work on. So for me, the birth, I'm extremely healthy. I'm like the healthiest person I know. And the birth of my first child, I wanted a natural home birth. Went completely crazy. I tried for hours and hours and pushed, and my husband and sister saw her head coming and she would not come out though. And her heart rate started falling. And eventually my midwives were like, okay, we're going to transfer you to the hospital if she doesn't come out before the ambulance gets here. And I was like 36 hours in, you gotta be kidding me. So I went to the hospital. Anyway, long story short, I had to have a C-section. My uterus tore open during the C-section. She was born like almost non-responsive. It was horrible. But so no matter what chakra work I do, that's not going to fix like the physical part of me that, no doctor will let me have a vaginal birth now. So I can do chakra work all day long in my sacral chakra, and that's like not going to make that go away. It's just going to help me to deal with the loss of the experience. So that's what I mean. Some things we're just, it's just a hand that's dealt to us, but working with our chakras can help us go through that. So that's also too why I don't focus too much on physical ailments. Hi, Heidi. Physical things right now, gained 10 pounds. So, I can't see. Yeah. So you know what? But you got to be gentle with yourself and do the emotional stuff before you can do the physical stuff. So there's that piece in there. So let's see, let me go down my list that I have here. So seeing auras, this is really fun. So your aura, and I will not claim to be an expert in seeing auras because I'm not. But it is something I work on all the time, and I strive so hard to be able to see other people's auras. So seeing auras, some people are gifted with this, and they see them as kids and they see them as adults, or they see them as kids, don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're seeing. Stop flexing that muscle and then try again as adults. So you could fall into like any of these camps as a kid and then not as an adult your whole life, or not at all. But it is a skill that you can learn. So our aura can tell us a lot about our chakras and how they're working together. So some people will have like really big, massive auras, which is cool because it's showing you're really confident and you're amazing. The problem though with having this big energetic bubble around you is that it can really take away from other people's energy and their ability to, own their own space. So when we're working on our auras and we're kind of shining this energy out around us, we want to be aware of that, and that we're not killing other people's space with our big energy. So if you walk, if you're making other people uncomfortable with your big energy, then it's okay to rein that energy in a little bit. So in situations where you're feeling really, we'll talk about auras first and then seeing auras. So in situations that you're feeling really like stressed, or especially with the holidays coming up, if you have some family members that, you don't agree on, especially if you're in the United States right now, like politically, if you don't agree, this can be a really rough time for some families to get together. So a way to do this is to envision your amazing energy around you. So you can see it as just a white ball of light, or whatever chakra colors you feel most connected to, or that you feel are really aligned with you, that you're really aligned with, or are really strong for you. You can envision those colors around you. So I do say though, just be aware. Don't like shine your confidence so bright that nobody else in the room can shine theirs. It's like sitting on public transportation when the person next to you, won't move their arms so you can scratch your head. You want to be able to let people scratch their heads. So we can kind of envision our auras, visualize them, and use that as protective energy. So as far as seeing auras, a really cool way to practice, and this works kind of differently for everybody, but one way is to try with your hands. So this is like the most typically used way. So one way to practice seeing your aura is to hold your hand up against a white wall or something totally white, and just stare between your fingers and stare until you kind of start to you're really starting to zone out. Oh, hi, Anna, the other sister is here. My real life sister. So kind of stare between your fingers until you're spaced out, a little foggy-eyed, and see what colors you can see kind of emanating off of your hand. And, if they're different colors, the same color, and just practice that way. Some people, this works better against a black surface. So for me, white works well. So, and the more I practice this, the quicker it comes for me. So the more I do this, when I'm doing it every day and really practicing, it's I find it much quicker, much easier. And then when I'm distracted and haven't been doing it, it takes me a little bit to get into it again. I started doing the mirror. That was easier than the wall. Yeah, so if a mirror works for you, do the mirror. So that's why it's different for everybody. So the common suggestions are a white wall or a black wall. Other things I've seen are suggestions are a mirror. I've seen people use, especially people that are really intuitive and do scrying with mirrors, or water, like a bowl of water. Sometimes people will say do it against over a bowl of water, but make sure you have a bowl that's plain on the inside, white again, or black bowl with water in it, or stainless steel, and or a mirror. And some people will do light like a fire and kind of look at the fire and then hold their hand in the smoke and do it. So that does not work for me at all. It's too much sensory stuff, and I don't ever see anything. So those are some suggestions for seeing your aura. So you can also practice on other people by having somebody close to you stand up against a plain wall or a mirror, or if the smoke trick works for you, you can try that too. So have a person stand up and do the same thing, kind of just stare off into the abyss, not quite at them, but not off of them, right at their edge, and see if you can see what colors you see coming up. So that's a really cool practice to see auras. And so the thing with auras is we can see how your colors are. So for me, there's a local aura reader here. And so she sees me with my heart chakra as like a really dim light green. And she's like, well, you want it to be emerald glowing. So you can see what colors you see off people. You know, how is there red, super fiery red, or is it like red that looks like you kind of mix some brown paint in with it, or like it needs some freshening up. Morning, Joanna. So yeah, so you can practice with friends and family also if you have somebody to practice buddy. So that is seeing auras. Another thing I have on my to-do list, hot pink for you. Yes, Anna's very fiery, my sister. And again, if you guys have any questions or comments, put them in here and I will address them as I go along. So another thing I had on my to-do list to talk to you about is tackling non-believers. I'm just going to have a sip of my drink here. So if you are like me, you have many people in your life that are non-believers or believe in something completely different than you, or not maybe even completely different. Maybe they believe in something similar, but to them it's completely different and they just aren't open to seeing the commonalities. And if you have somebody like that who's very rigid, then I would say that they have a very blocked third eye and crown chakra, and they're likely not going to listen to whatever you have to say. So I wouldn't kill yourself trying to convince them otherwise. But it can be, some of us might have, for me, I'm very lucky. My husband, you know, he thinks I'm just a little bit strange, but he doesn't, he loves me just the same, and he just makes jokes and, you know, but not hurtful jokes. He like teases me, like he calls my pendulum my swinging rock. And right now I have a big crystal grid on our kitchen counter. We have no counter space. And I am Christmas is this weekend, and we're hosting Christmas dinner, and I'm taking up like a third of our counter space with a crystal grid. And he's like, you need to move this. And I was like, I can't touch it. It can't be moved. And he's like, you're out of your head. You need to move this. So, you know, he's like that. So, but some people have really unsupportive spouses that give them a hard time, that tell them that they're bringing in the devil somehow, or, you know, whatever. So tackling non-believers, my main advice is always don't try to convince them otherwise, because it's not worth your energy to try to convince somebody of something that they don't want to be convinced of. So, I get that question a lot in terms of everything that I talk about in this group. And my biggest piece of advice is, you know, don't waste your time. Don't waste your energy on it. Just let it go. You're better than that. And, you know, again, envision that green heart chakra, just pouring love out for everybody. So that's that. If somebody says that this is just, you know, I did talk about this the other day, new age nonsense, if you want to, you feel free to let them know that no, actually the chakras can be traced back in historical literature to 1500 BC. So I was loving but not joining in. Yeah, my husband's hilarious. I think it's like, I love him so much, but I think the reason that we are still happily married and not unhappily or divorced is because he's so funny. He's so funny. So no matter what he says to me, I'm like always laughing by the end of it. So yeah, he's definitely loving, but he's like, thinks I'm totally like crazy sometimes. So anyway, so non-believers, I just would not waste your energy so much. So my family accused me of worshiping the devil. Yeah, Facebook posts, I just ignore it or say you have your beliefs and I have mine. My husband says I'm weird, but some of the stuff is interesting. Yeah, so that's what I've had people before on Facebook, because you know this is what I do, and I have a tarot deck that has a pentagram on the back of it, and I didn't even think about it, and I had a picture of it, and I got like all these comments about I was going to hell and I was a devil worshiper and this, that, and the other thing, and I was like, you know, like it didn't bother me, but I was like, didn't even see it coming, because it's not something that crosses my mind. And I'm like, oh my God, I am like the least devil fearing person there is, or devil, I guess, worshiping person there is. I'm all about like love and energy and being happy and spreading happiness and glitter and magic, which is not devil worship. But I was like totally like, oh wow, that's a point of view. So I just wouldn't even waste my energy on tackling non-believers. You know, you can maybe say, oh, it's interesting you feel that way. I feel differently. So if you ever want to talk about it, you know, I'm here to talk about it. I like to say that, oh, that's an interesting point of view. And then just like keep eating my food like it never happened. That's interesting. Okay, so another question we had in the group was working with others on healing our chakras. So whether you do it yourself or you can, so I don't remember exactly what the question was. If it was, I think there was a couple people who had been working with other people that had not tried working on themselves. And then there was questions about working with others. So there are a lot of cool ways to work with other people on chakras. You can get readings from people that can help give suggestions for blocking for unblocking your chakras. There are Reiki healers who, so Reiki energy, it's not directly, or Reiki work isn't always directly aligned with the chakras in the teaching of Reiki, but it's energetic systems. So actually, if you are feeling really blocked in your chakras and like you're not getting anywhere yourself, Reiki can be a great addition to working with your chakras because it's working with your body's energy. So you can certainly work with other people. You can work with yourself, whatever feels good to you and whatever calls to you. So lucky my husband wants me to start reading tarot for people. He finds it interesting, but doesn't believe in the hocus pocus. Yeah, my husband, he doesn't really care. Like he just, like I do tarot readings for other people, like paid readings, and it doesn't, he's just like, he just rolls his eyes at me when I pull out my pendulum to do something, and he's like, oh, there's the swinging rock. Or if I'm sitting there with like, I don't know, I don't have something here, but like if I'm like holding a crystal to my forehead, like trying to think about something, he's just like, that's good, put a rock on your head. Just walks away from me, he's like, weirdo. But yeah, so that's good. I love it when people have supportive husbands because it's really, it's hard when people aren't. My husband's brother always asks me how things are going at Hogwarts. And I'm like, they're amazing and you should live at Hogwarts too. So working with others is definitely something you can do if you feel called to. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but it is a thing. And, it's a thing that a lot of people do. So that is an option. And I definitely suggest, working on yourself also. Yeah, my sister, when we use selenite wand to clear our energy. Yeah, Anna missed yesterday's video. Anna, I talked about that yesterday. I'm like clearing our energy. And everyone's making fun of me for it. What are you doing? Okay, so causes of blocks and imbalances. I did talk about this in one of the videos. So if somebody asked me, how do your chakras get blocked to begin with and imbalanced? So a lot of it comes from childhood stuff. That's what the literature will tell you anyway, or events that are happening right now, stressors, that are going on. So the childhood piece of that is, it's kind of like learned things. So in the money magic class that we do, which if you sign up for Chakra Magic, you can get access to that also. We talk about, where do your beliefs on money come from? And a lot of people don't think about that. It's not something you're like, well, I don't know, I just have money. But like, how did you learn to either think there was not enough or there was too much? How did you learn that? What was your first memory of it? So when we think back to stuff about as children, well, what's our first memory of a lot of things? And how does that impact the way we think today? And that can be a really tough question, but a really eye-opening question in all areas of our life. So our first memory of everything and how that directs the choices we make today and the actions we take. So a lot of how we feel as adults is fueled by stuff that happened. And it doesn't have to be bad stuff. Like in our money magic class, we talk about our money story. And for me, it's when one thing I talk about is my stepfather, we were at the store and all my friends drank Sunny D. It's this like orange juice drink here in the States. I don't know if it's all over the world, but it's like this, as an adult, I wouldn't buy it, but for my kid, but as a kid, all my friends drank it and I wanted this Sunny D. And so my stepdad never went grocery shopping and I don't know why we were at the grocery store, but I was like, oh, I want this Sunny D. And so he bought it for me. But then in the parking lot, he was looking at the receipt and he was like, that was like however much money it was. That's so much money. Like, you've got to learn, you don't buy stuff for that much money, blah, blah, blah. And I remember being like, you're the grown up. Like, you're the one who said yes. And also, I don't even know the value of money because I was like, I don't know, I must have been like third grade or something. But then I thought about it and I was like, when I thought back on my first experience with money, that is the first thing I can remember is like being berated over how much Sunny D cost. So, and as an adult, I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense with a lot of choices I've made growing up. And now as an adult, and I learned to let that go and move forward. But it's the same with our chakras, like things that happen as a kid that we internalize and we don't even think about, and just seem normal. Like everyone's got parents that are annoying sometimes. But that's how our chakras become imbalanced or blocked. And then also events that are happening, right? The crap we brought from society, family, religion. Yeah, exactly. It's all this stuff that's just ingrained in us that seems like, well, everyone's got it in them, you know? Why do I got to be different? But you can be. You can be so much happier and in alignment with yourself and your energy without having all this crap. But we got to identify it and let it go first. So that's how, you know, we can be really blocked and imbalanced in our chakras. And then also situations like with the holidays, if you have family members that stress you out or that you're like, oh, this is really crazy for me, like just things that we're living in the moment can also not help us shine our light the brightest and let our chakras be in alignment. So definitely, yeah, the stuff. And that's what I was saying earlier about non-believers, somebody who's really rigid in their beliefs and is just like, that's nonsense. And this, that, and the other thing is the only thing that's true. Like, don't even bother, because they're so rigid in their beliefs that whatever you say to them, it's just gonna, it's like, just let them believe that, you know, when they're ready, they'll be ready. So that's that. Oh, essential oils I wanted to talk about. So, oh man, I gotta move my phone. It's like propped up so perfectly. Maybe I don't have to. I think I do. Let me see if I can replace my phone prop. There we go. So essential oils and incense I talk about. So incense is pretty cut and dry, right? You light it and it does its thing. Oils you can put in a diffuser and diffuse them, or like in an oil burner. That works fine too. You can also make your own essential oil blends to work on the chakras you're working on with the different scent and oil recommendations. You can also use whatever just sounds great to you. So you can buy, I don't have any of my ones that I made in here. This is my one for my bathroom. But you can buy pre-made blends. So this one's, I've got a throat chakra one, solar plexus. This one's just for mindfulness in general. Juniper and frankincense. I have a spray, a solar plexus spray. So you can buy these things online on Etsy. You can find people who make them. You can also buy little roller balls, actually just like this one without the sticker, on Amazon, or from Mountain Rose Herbs online. I love Mountain Rose Herbs. They have also really good essential oils if you don't buy from one of the distributors online. So you can buy these bottles, and you can use coconut oil, like fractionated coconut oil, so it's in liquid form, or avocado oil if you're allergic to coconut, or grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil is great for anything with abundance that you might be doing, abundance work, and add essential oils to it, and then you can, you know, roll it onto your, you know, wherever. So those are all cool ways to work with essential oils. If you don't, so synchronized to be doTERRA in my journey. Yeah, so yeah, doTERRA and Young Living, I know they're different things, but those are great companies. And then if you're not trusting of brands that you find at the store, which unless you have a really good high quality natural or organic food store around you and you're really knowledgeable in what they carry, Mountain Rose Herbs is a great source of oils also, and herbs too. Their herbs are great, and you can buy them in bulk from them also, and stick them in your freezer and they'll last forever. So yeah, so using essential oils, there's a bunch of different ways to do that, and you can get really crafty with that. What else do I have here on my list? I think that was all of the points I wanted to touch on today, like little questions inside notes that I had. So I have like 5 minutes if there's any other questions, and then I gotta jet out the door again. So busy day for me over here. So if anybody has any other, my husband's at the door like, what are you doing? I know you gotta go. So if there's any questions, you can put them and I'll try and answer them real quick. If not, when I watch this on the replay, I can probably, not this weekend, you know, tomorrow's Christmas Eve and Sunday's Christmas, Monday or Tuesday maybe, I'll come and chat with you guys again about any questions I see in the group. So feel free to leave questions and I will still come back and answer them. The group will be here forever. The group was here before this. So in this group, if you are brand new to the group and here for the chakra class, we do talk about all kinds of things. Great suggestion. Yeah. Shannon. We talk about all kinds of things in this group: tarot, pendulums, spiritual stuff. I'm not great at dream interpretations, but there are people in here that are, so you can talk about that. Anything magical and spiritual and you know, amazing and good. We just love a high vibe group. So that's the one thing I do ask, is that if you come to us with like you know, like, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm having this problem kind of problem, that's totally fine. Just remember that to find strength in that, in your problem, and ask for advice and guidance accordingly. Because I do love the group to be really super high vibe. But like I said, no one's perfect, and I certainly don't have a perfect life. And there's days that I want to just be like, oh my gosh, somebody help me. So it's totally okay to have those days. But hang around in the group going forward and, you know, dive into magical goodness. If you are into tarot, we did 78 days of tarot back over the end of the summer, and there's a video for each tarot card in this group in the photos or videos section. So that's a great resource for you. These videos are here now. There's all kinds of stuff to look at. Yeah, thanks, Shannon. Thanks for finding. Yeah, I'm so glad you found us. So the group has grown leaps and bounds over the last 2 weeks with the chakra class. So, but definitely feel free to talk about things other than chakras. Normally we talk about all kinds of things in the group, and it's not just chakra talk. So, after kind of after next week, I think programming will return as normal, and our random discussions and whatever you talk about will come up, and that's great. So I think that's it. So definitely feel free to hang around, and I will chat again next week with any like loose questions. Wednesday is the day to get all of your today's tasks in so that I can pull some giveaway winners early Thursday. And so it'll be 3 of those. And if you are interested in signing up for our chakra magic class, we'd love to have you. I will say, don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm going to toot it. I have taken tons of chakra classes, and the class that we're offering is like 3 to 4 times less than classes that I paid for, and has more information in it. So if you're interested in really learning about chakras, you know, dive into our class, and you have access every live round that we do. So you can join us every time we run it live. You can participate again. Plus it's yours to keep forever. So you can do it at your own pace also. So we would love to have you for that. And there is a 2-pay option on it also to make it even more affordable. So if you have questions about anything, let me know. And I will chat with you ladies later. If I don't talk today, then have a great holiday weekend. And I will see, I'll be in the group still because I'm always in the group. But the pros of having an iPhone and a Facebook group, right? You're always there. But I will definitely chat live with you guys later, early next week, once we all have a chance to relax and get going again. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all. This has been amazing and super fun. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.